Georgia's election law was passed in March of 2021 following the 2020 presidential election. It came after the 2020 presidential election when many Republicans believed Democrats either cheated or took advantage of voting procedures that were eased because of the pandemic. The thing you may have heard about is that it prohibits outside groups from giving food and drink to voters who are waiting in line to vote. But it does a lot of other things that affect how you actually vote. One of the biggest set of changes is to absentee mail-in ballots. The law narrows the window for when you can start applying and when you have to apply by to get your ballot to mail back in. Instead of it being the Friday before the election, you now have to apply by 2 Fridays before the election. Voters have to now print and sign a paper form, while at least briefly during the pandemic you could apply directly online without filling out any paper, or you could send an email to your county elections office. And the request now has to include numbers from a state-issued ID like a driver's license, whereas before the security method was that they checked your signature when you sent back in your actual ballot against the signature they had on file for you. One of the other big things the law does is that it affects drop boxes. Briefly during the pandemic, the state had implemented drop boxes under an emergency rule where you could drop off your absentee ballot, typically outside a polling place. Sometimes it was like a drive-through. A lot of people didn't like drop boxes. There are many Republicans who think that Democrats were somehow improperly or illegally stuffing fraudulent ballots into drop boxes. So the state has now limited the number of drop boxes that most counties can set out. And it said that they have to be inside where someone is watching them. And they're only open during business hours. So you can't come by at 11 o'clock at night and drop your ballot off anymore. The law did do some things that go in the other direction. For example, the law for the first time mandated that every county had to offer at least 2 Saturdays of in-person early voting, where previously only one was mandated. There have been at least 6 different lawsuits filed over SB 202. A whole bunch of different civil rights and civic groups sued within days of the bill being signed in March 2021. The Biden Justice Department then sued in June 2021. All of these complaints basically argued that the law somehow illegally tries to restrict the voting rights of racial minorities. The Justice Department suit, for example, claims a wide range of provisions are discriminatory, including the narrow window to apply for absentee ballots, the rules about having to use your driver's license or other state ID to get an absentee ballot, the limits on the drop boxes, and even the bar on handing out food and water. cases have been rolled together into one big consolidated case, although not everybody who's involved in the litigation is happy about that. And we're still really in the discovery phase of the lawsuits, so really we haven't reached an outcome, and it's unclear when we will.